Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and this week's Marvel Superheroes Advanced Role-Playing Game System Review Explanation thing, we're going to be talking about dimensional entities, and specifically, pissing them off. Alright, now there are a whole bunch of different dimensional entities around, and some of them, mind you, are just dimensions. They're, for the most part, non-sentient. And you have the option to make them sentient if you want, or to make something there if you want. That's up to you. But for now, let's just talk about what happens when you piss off an entity. All right. We know that magical contacts, and if you don't, then let this video serve as that either a reminder or the first information piece that you get. Buying a magical contact costs twice as much as a regular contact. So 500 karma points if you're going to be purchasing a contact from whomever, but 1,000 if it's going to be a magical entity, you know? That's actually a really good thing. Most things in the Marvel universe, the Marvel role-playing game, when it comes to magic, is half cost, or sometimes less. You know, feats, doing power stunts and things like that, they're practically free. You get new powers like that all the time. The trick is that the contacts, that's a really expensive thing. So if you have the ability to cast dimensional energies, even if you don't, and yet somehow you're still coming across dimensional entities, that's going to play a big part in your game. All right, magic is an extremely powerful thing, and allowing dimensional energies to seep into the Marvel universe, into your campaign, or having the characters slip into another dimension, always a huge, big, fun part of the game. If your character somehow doesn't have the ability to tap into dimensional energies, can only use personal and universal, then a really good way to allow them to get dimensional energy use, is to have interference with another entity in some way, shape, or form. Maybe through another player character, maybe just through the mission that you have. If you have an all-magical campaign, that's an easy fix, you know? But if you have only one player character, and that player character didn't roll to be able to use dimensional energies, then introducing a dimensional aspect to the game, like I said, would be a really great way to be able to give that player now access to dimensional energies. Maybe that player is called upon by some other dimensional entity, good guy or bad guy, whoever picks somebody, pick one or all of the Vishanti. It could actually be a really cool idea, you know, just saying something like, oh, hey, you know, all these different mages are you know, involved in these different things, but, you know, I need an agent who's going to go in there that none of the other dimensional energies will really be paying attention to, the entities that will be paying attention to it. Since you've never cast a dimensional spell before, what if I were to have you be my agent and go out and do such and such and such, and the reward at the end would be that now, or you know, the enticement is during the course of this mission you'll be able to call upon dimensional energies, or at least you'll only be able to call upon me as a dimensional energy, and at the end you get this character as a contact. You know what I'm saying? So free contact, bang, or at least the ability to, if you have the karma ready, or if you're gonna, you know, karma pool for it, then you can eventually get the entity as a contact. He or she is open to being a contact. Anything to that effect, that could work. You know, that could absolutely work. Anyway, as far as overusing an entity, it's a very brief explanation given on page 33 of the Realms of Magic. If you're first off, remember that it's a popularity feat in order to succeed, but it's a popularity feat that utilizes your psyche, not your popularity itself. So what do I mean by this? The way the popularity feat works is yellow and red succeed, green and white fail. All right, but again, you're going to be substituting your psyche in there as opposed to what do you call it? Your popularity itself. So a popularity feat using your psyche. Now, let's say you You call upon somebody who's friendly. You can call upon them as much as you want. Granted, if you keep on calling upon them, they are going to feel like you owe them a big one. Because remember, that's the way that contacts actually work. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. All right? So, hey, man, some Dormammu's invading my dimension. Need you to come on in. You know what I'm saying? Or if your contact is Dormammu, somebody's been kidnapping my mindless ones. Need you to come on in. All right? Anything along those lines. That could work, right? Just a regular old campaign where it's like somebody's been kidnapping mindless ones. Oh my God, what can I do with that campaign? That's great. I just thought that one up. I kind of want to make that one now. Anyhow, so, your player characters have to disguise themselves as mindless ones. you have to take over a mindless one psychically. So, let's say you don't have the particular entity or dimension as a contact. Now you're playing with fire. All right, they can't be friendly because you don't have them as a contact. But if they're just neutral, calling upon these entities more than twice a day, or more than twice a campaign, not necessarily a campaign, but a session. All right, that could cause them to slip down into unfriendly. Calling upon them more than 5 times per week or 5 times per campaign, that could potentially cause them to slip from neutral to unfriendly. And the exact same thing for unfriendly to hostile. Yeah. Yeah. And if they're actually hostile, or you get a hostile result a couple of times, depending on how often they're calling upon this entity, depends on what could actually happen. So just some ideas of what could possibly happen to you or your players. Let's say they get sucked into the dimension and they got to face this being right now. Obviously facing the being and, oh, you son of a gun, fight me. No. You got to remember, dimensional entities are usually much, much bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? Think about the Doctor Strange movie. Doctor Strange is no match one-on-one against Dormammu. And that's the way I feel like he should be played in the comic books also. Him being able to go one-on-one against Dormammu is just absurd. But if you had it where, let's just use Dormammu as an example. You get called into face Dormammu. And at first you're just like, there's his face and he's just looking at you. And you're like, holy crap, roll to piss my pants. Red feet. You know what I'm saying? I pissed all over my pants. That should be a terrifying moment, like slam the desk if you have to, something like make them understand, dude, you're face to face with Dormammu, his fiery eyes and his the flames of the Faltine about his head, his Faltine crown, and just terrify him. But upon closer inspection, he's been chained up. What if he calls upon it and says, what do you call it? Sucker. I've been chained up by so and so, by the Vishanti. Maybe make it a contact if they've especially abused Dormammu. All right, or any chaotic dimensional entity, any entity who's constantly trying to take over the Earth dimension. Okay, something like that. But I've been kidnapped or taken prisoner by the Vishanti. It could even just be a mission that Baron Mordo comes to you. He loves Dormammu, and be like, hey, turns out. But or just Dormammu explains the reason why I can't call upon Baron Mordo or whomever is because I've been cut off from all of my contacts. The Vishanti saw to that, but you have been abusing. You've been calling upon me an awful lot, and don't think that Dormammu forgot. Don't think that this hasn't come across the attention of the great dread Dormammu. He's still going to try and act like a tough guy even though he's chained. And he could technically incinerate them at any moment. But if he were to say something to the effect of, listen, it's probably going to piss off the Vishanti or whomever your contact is in the dimensional realms. But if you free me, I will free your dog. Say, do a John Wick situation, whatever. Just think of something along those lines where they now have to, or at least that player character has to try and free Dormammu. All right? potentially pissing off their contact. That could be an interesting, those kind of conundrums. That's part of what a magical campaign really is. It's not just a blast, 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 firepower, firepower. And it's not quite a detective espionage sort of, Batman-esque mission. It's something where you've actually got to think. There are puzzles, there are riddles, there are consequences that can radically change your character, and how you progress as a character. All sorts of different things. Maybe it's Dormammu who's going to give him the ability to use dimensional energies, whatever it is. Maybe he's gonna pass along maybe one of the things he'll say is, I'm going to pass to you the leadership of the Faltine. You're going to have to rule the Dark Dimension now. You're going to have to control the populace of the mindless ones. You're going to have to keep up that barrier. You're going to have to, whatever, while I escape. Don't worry, I'll escape this, but I do still want my people protected in the meantime. And then all of a sudden Umar shows up and she wants the power. Are the players just going to hand that power over to them? Give them a reason why they shouldn't, So all sorts of different ideas like that. But let's say it's a brainless, essentially, entity like Ragador. You piss off Ragador. Maybe you get trapped in the dimension of Ragador, And mind you, not just the player character himself, but all the characters who are in the team, in the karma pool, so to speak, with that player character. Ragador is a extremely hostile, non-sentient entity. It's just the rings of Ragador in the dimension of Ragador. Kalu was a prisoner there. Say that he's still a prisoner there. And then all of a sudden the players now have to deal with Kalu inside this very hostile place. Just anything along those lines. The dimensions say it's so chaotic that if you don't have your shields on all the time, then you're going to take 1 point of damage every day. Non-healable within the dimension of Ragador. Now all of a sudden they got a time limit on them. Like, you could just, whatever you need to do, man, whatever you need to do. And any kind of hostile energy like that, take a psyche point away from them, an intuition point from them, just whatever it has to be. Take a reason point from them. It's a maddening Cthulhian type world. Don't matter. An endurance point, whatever. But definitely have some fun with that, man. Cause them to actually hate this dimension with a passion. Make that player character really consider ever calling upon this dimension, this energy, this non-entital entity again. Make the player character hate the magic in a loving way. All right, not truly hate it, but make them reconsider every single time they're going to call upon a hostile force again. Calling upon Odin or any of the Olympian gods, any of them, they are. We know that they could be facetious. They could be really angry. They could be hostile. And basically that's it. Just, again, use your imagination, but not just for the sake of fun, but for the sake of really giving them riddles. This is a magical campaign, or at least if they piss off a magical entity, a dimensional entity, this is something where they're probably going to have to use their brain more than anything else, because I'm not a fan of, Shumagorath has just appeared, in the streets of New York City. Go up there and slice him with your claws and shoot him with your laser beams and throw your shield at him. Like, that's, to me, that's just, I am talking about that new Avengers story. I'm not a huge fan of that, all right? Shumagorath can't be beaten physically. Shumagorath should never be able to be confronted physically. That's just outlandish to me. It's, horrible writing in my opinion, but I have spoken. Anyway, no, do something absolutely absurd. Remember, Shumagorath is supposed to be that Cthulhian mythos, and he actually dates back to the Hyborian Age. If you remember those old Doctor Strange comics, he dates back to there. So maybe he sends them back through time, where he had more control over the Earth. You know, shortly before the sinking of Atlantis, hey, give the player characters an opportunity to come across Atlantean magic in that regard. Um, the creation of the Serpent Crown, maybe have them have something to do inadvertently with the creation of the Serpent Crown. Your quest is to bring me a shrubbery, but that shrubbery was actually sacrificed in order to. It was a living shrubbery. Shut up. In order to actually, create the Thorn of Crowns for the Serpent Crown. You know what I'm saying? Just it's the original mold. Anything along those lines. Basically, pissing off a dimensional entity shouldn't just be a punishment. It should be a full campaign. It should be, or at least a mission, but it should be something that affects all the characters, makes the other characters want to try and keep this magical character in check. Just be like, dude, we don't want to deal with stuff like that anymore. Don't you dare call upon that entity anymore. Something along those lines. Or maybe it's an opportunity. You've been calling upon this hostile entity. Maybe it's an opportunity to actually become friends and actually get this entity as a contact. Maybe that's what it winds up doing. At the very least, at the end of it, it should take them out of hostile and into unfriendly. Or maybe even out of unfriendly and into neutral, depending on what the campaign is. Something along those lines. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.